Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something, man. I'm not sure what Mario Barrios is going to do, but Mario Barrios is a bad boy, but he's been in this boxing game for quite some time now. When you take a look at Mario Barrios, man, he has 29 wins, 18 of those wins by KO. He has 2 losses. This crap popping up on my screen. He has 2 losses. One of those losses were by KO. 62% KO ratio. He's about 6 feet tall, 71-inch reach. And he turned pro in 2013, so my man has been boxing about 12 years. That's a pretty damn long time. But anyway, he's a young guy at 29, but he has been through some wars. He's already at 32 fights at age 29. He did a lot of work when he was fighting at 140, man. A lot of people tend to forget that Mario Barrios was putting in work at 140 and entertaining us. And not only inflicting a lot of damage on his opponents, but taking a lot of damage as well. He's one of those guys like a Arturo Gotti type, blood and guts warrior. Tuck his chin, high guard up, get to swinging. If it turns into a mash-up, crash-up, he's not running. Turns into a gunfight, he ain't looking for no bulletproof vest. He's standing there and taking them shots on his chin. But that being said, Brian Norman Jr., he wants some of that goddamn Texas barbecue smoked brisket with Mario Barrios. And I'm going to tell you, this fight is interesting. I hope they make this fight. Because then what you have is the winner of Norman Jr. and Barrios could possibly fight the winner of Boots and Stan Eunice. Then you can see by the end of this year, we could get an undisputed champion at 147 pounds again. But what's Barrios' chances of really beating a guy like Brian Norman Jr.? I think pretty good. But I'll also say Brian Norman Jr. has a damn good chance of beating Mario Barrios. You see, Barrios has been a bit... Let's just take a look at this, right? This is my concern about Barrios. And I'm rooting for Barrios, man. You know, I like his story. I like the fact that he's put a lot of work in. And I like the fact that even now, he seemed to... At 147, he seems to be more comfortable, but man, it just seems like there's something going on with him. I don't know. He always seems kind of emotional. But anyway, he fought Abel Ramos in a fight that looked like he was going to get Ramos out of there. Knocked Ramos down in round 2, but then Ramos came back and knocked him down in round 6. And it wasn't a flash knockdown. They both were hurt. Anyway, that fight went on, man, and it was just a very, very tough fight. And he won a split decision, so that just lets you know the fight wasn't going his way. Before that, he fought Fabian Maidana, and Fabian Maidana had a whole lot of success against Barrios that I didn't expect to see. He fought Ugas and was able to get a unanimous decision over 12 rounds. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that win over Ugas surprised a lot of people. But that being said, when you think about Mario Barrios, of course, he's been against the better competition, but that puts miles on you. And he has a daughter now. I think he has a daughter. She's probably a couple years old now. It seems like he kind of has one foot in being a parent, being a civilian, and one foot in boxing. And I didn't hear him say that. I'm just me being an old wise owl, and I can just watch the attitude, I watch the emotions in the fighter, and I just listen to him. And Barrios seems to me like he kind of wants to push and still be that dog he was at 140, but it also seems like his priorities have shifted a bit, and he's just trying to figure that out. And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell you what, children change you, man. You know what I'm saying? When I had my first son, everything changed. It's like I tell you, I always say, the death of a loved one and the birth of a child, your life is never the same, at least for me. And I woke up the next day after losing a loved one, the fucking world never looked the same. When I woke up the next day after, my first son was born, the world wasn't the same. Then I had 3 more, so I have 4 sons. And for Barrios, I'm sure when he woke up after his daughter was born, he was like, wow, shit's different now. But if he's going to get into with Brian Norman Jr., he got to be locked and loaded. Because Brian Norman Jr., man, he is firing on all cylinders. And you saw in his fight this past weekend, They had a guy in front of him who was coming straight at him, and the guy was taller, the guy looked stronger, the guy was throwing a big, strong left hook because he's naturally left-handed, so he's fighting orthodox to make sure he can get that left hand off on him. And he landed a couple of times, and Brian Norman Jr. recognized, okay, this is this guy's strong arm, this is what he does good. I need to take that from him, but at the same time, I need to make sure I can implement my game plan and get off my good shots. And he started punching in between shots with that guy. He started landing big shit. Next thing you know, he gets the knockout. So Brian Norman Jr. has, I think, underestimated power because we saw what he did to Santion. That shit still blows my mind, the way he damn near killed Santion, totally tranquilized him. And Santion, I just thought Santion, the way he looked against Rocha, I said, damn, if the guy can fight like that, nobody going to beat him. He basically like Zepeda with his output and his tenacity. Ran into Brian Norman Jr., and that shit worked a little bit till Brian Norman Jr. started figuring things out. And then he unleashed the wrath of God on Santion. I said, shit, this Brian Norman Jr. cat can scrap. And then to see him come back off of inactivity this past weekend and do what he did, I'm like, Brian Norman Jr. is the truth. But Barrios is already proven. I just think it's a matter of seeing if, and Ali, even though he's age 29, whatever, maybe almost 30, I would call him an old dog. It's just if the old dog wants to step aside and let the young gun come through blazing and, take his spot. But I tell you what, that is a fight that I think they should make. Now, when Norman says Barrios is babysitting his belt, I mean, Barrios bought November, man, 2024. It's April 2025. So you would think he'd want to be back in the ring in 6 months. But definitely by the summer. But hopefully they can make that fight. But at the same time, when you talk about Mario Barrios, he's got options. He may want to sit back and wait and fight one of them UK boys. You know what I mean? Somebody at 140 may want to come to 147. Depending on what happened with Conor Benn and Eubank Jr., he may say, all right, I lost against Eubank and whatever. Nobody really going to hate Conor Benn for losing against Eubank Jr. He's jumping up a couple weight divisions. Maybe he gets back down to where he wants to be at 147 and he fights Barrios. He's going to fight him anyway, but chose to go after the bigger money. Maybe he comes out and fights Barrios for a title. So Barrios, he's not going to have a knee-jerk reaction and just jump at the opportunity to unify with Brian Norman Jr. and make, let's say, I don't know, 1 million, 1.5 when he's already made more than that in fights. When he could sit back and just wait a few months and possibly get a fight with another fighter, especially a guy like Conor Benn, and come out here and make, maybe 5-6 million. So boxing is a business, and you got to understand when you see a guy like Barrios not fighting every 6 months or 4 months or whatever, I think it has a lot to do with, one, he's a father now. Two, he's been fighting for a while and very, very hard fights, so he needs that time to recover. And I think three, it boils down to the business of boxing. It's got to make sense for him. He's like, shit, I've been putting in this work for so long. Y'all ain't just going to come out here, man, and turn me into a smoked Texas brisket. It ain't going to work like that. I need to get paid. If you want me to break lock with my little bit of R&R and my daughter, you better make it worthwhile, financially. And I think that's how you get Barrios to come out here, man. But who knows? The sanctioning body may put some pressure on him and say, yo, you got to defend that belt. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But Brian Norman Jr. is proven to be the truth. Barrios already proved that he's the truth. I don't care what nobody says. It's just a matter of seeing just how much Barrios has left. Because he's been through some tough fights, man. And I ain't talking, this shit didn't just start with Gervonta Davis. Before Gervonta, I'm telling you, you see people, this is the problem with some of these boxing fans. They weren't following these guys. They just see these guys when they become big, then you start hearing the names and paying attention. It's just like with Andy Ruiz. It was 2008 to 2010. I was in Korea. And then 2010 to 2015, I was in Okinawa, Japan, stationed over there. And I was watching Andy Ruiz, man, on the AFN network because they were showing all the fights, man. And I was like, yo, who is this little fat bald head guy, man, with no facial hair, whipping everybody ass? His name was Andy Ruiz. I was like, yo, this guy doesn't look like he should be doing this, killing people. So after that, I've been watching him ever since. And then to see him get that AJ fight, and people didn't even know who he was. I was trying to tell people, like, yo, that motherfucker can fight. That dude can fight. I said, he's going to beat AJ, watch. No one believed me. I'm telling you, he's going to beat AJ. And he just came off of a fight before that against Demetrenko or some of them big European fighters. And a guy was big like AJ, strong like AJ, and Andy Ruiz damn near killed that dude. So I was trying to tell people. But anyway, I say that to say this. Barrios has been around. He's got IQ, he's got experience, he's fought with different trainers. He knows what he's doing in that ring. And he has the size, he has the reach, he has the power that can make the fight very tricky for Norman Jr. But Norman Jr., man, he can box. He's explosive, he's powerful, he's got speed, he's got IQ, he can box. I think it's a pretty evenly matched fight, and I think Brian Norman Jr. is right by calling out Barrios and trying to make the fight to unify so that the winner can go on and hopefully get to fight against the winner of Boots and Stan Eunice. Anyway, 50-50 fight if you ask me. Y'all keep cool in the breeze.